Hello, Kevin Call back at you at Supermicro. Today we're going to focus, as I mentioned, on the MI300 series accelerated compute. What we brought into our lab for validation is the MI325X accelerated compute. Currently, right now, the MI300 is supported with SuperCloud Composer, and we're evolving to 325, and then the next subsequent generation of accelerators after that on the AMD Instinct platform. So what I've done here is I've logged into the dashboard. Logging into the dashboard is nowhere different than what we do for any particular system that we're going to register within SuperCloud Composer during basically what we call pod view. So I'm going to give you a different look and feel of how you want to manage your particular racks. So you have this MI325, it shows up at your loading dock, and quickly you want to be able to deploy it and start your LLM models. So first thing is log into the dashboard. You probably want to prepare a cable plant and have some type of understanding of how you're going to arrange appliances within the rack based on the rack slot unit. You've done this ahead of time, and you've pretty much deployed or physically mounted these within your rack itself. So you want to provide a visual representation of how these racks have been arranged in your data center and what appliances are associated with which kind of racks. So what we're going to do here is show you how you are going to move an appliance within a rack. So we have this new AMD Instinct platform. We want to move within the rack as far as the rack location is concerned. So the first thing is everybody logs into the dashboard. They get a read-only look and feel of their data center. I'm not going to go into the detail of this particular use case, but you can see here it's very rich in telemetry and sensor data, providing you an activity timeline and various other things based on broken down in technology buckets. So we're going to navigate on the sidecard through pod view, and this is a hallmark feature within SuperCloud Composer. Customers absolutely love this visual representation of how we logically represent racks within a pod, group them together based on common workloads. So in our validation lab, we have a liquid-cooled setup, a liquid setup. And we're going to navigate and uncollapse our pod or our group, which is default. And you can see here that we have a liquid-cooled rack, which is identified based on managed by PDUs, and then also by CDUs, which are in-rack CDUs. So by clicking on this rack, it will show you a visual representation of various devices that are connected inside this rack. And you can see here the number, which is the blue circle there to indicate the 34 is it's starting in slot unit 34. And then depending on the form factor, this happens to be, I believe, a 10U. We want to move that down into the rack because we want to make room for other appliances or devices that are going to be inside that rack. So the key here is make sure your cable plant and your way you physically mount appliances look exactly how you arrange them within pod view. We've had some particular customers where they lose sight of this and then they get completely confused and they don't understand which particular device was it within what rack slot unit. So the key is organization is the key, right? Make sure you're organized within your data center so that you can perform very, very simple lifecycle management and be able to mitigate those outages that exist in your data center and make those data-driven decisions as a DevOps administrator. So the first thing we're going to do is come over to the right here, and we're going to click on the edit mode, which will bring us into sort of a edit mode function. And what we want to do here is we want to be able to move this particular device or appliance into this empty slot here. So simply clicking on it, it asks you to provide detail or delete drawer. In our case, we want to change the location. And when we simply change the location, we're going to change it into the same particular rack, which is default. And then the rack location is going to be our B6 liquid protection, which is R1. And then we're going to move it into an empty slot here, which is available, which is 5. We're going to move it there and then basically save it. And you can see here that the move was successful based on a toast message on the right-hand side. And indeed, that particular appliance was logically moved from its occupied slot, which was up here, into the new slot, which is below here. So that's the first thing, is about managing pod view, looking at various, making sure that your cable plant is identical what is virtual represented within your data center. So this type of activity you're doing here typically would be day 0 operation, where you're preparing your rack, making sure that it is exactly what's represented within pod view. You will probably have cable plan information there as well, likely maybe an Excel spreadsheet as a backup, given the fact is that you want to make sure that the spreadsheet equals what you have within your logical representation within pod view. So over to the right here, if we wanted to discover devices, there's really 2 ways to discover a device. So we talked about this in other podcasts. Nothing's different here, whether you're device discovering an air-cooled type of appliance or a liquid-cooled appliance, no difference there. We provide an IP range where you can essentially provide a range, and it would be a ping spray to go out discover these within your device discovery task, which will send to the back end or the background, so that you can perform other lifecycle management tasks while that particular device discovery is taking place. And then you also have the ability to go into SSDP, which is all our BMCs by default are enabled for device discovery. So SSDP is a Redfish DMTF standard for device discovery based on multicast queries. So we provide that functionality within our platform. So every particular BMC by default is enabled in Supermicro Gear for SSDP. So that's a little bit on discovery and managing and also configuring your rack, as well as registering appliances within the rack. So that's performing day 0 operation. So we can also look here. This is the MI325 platform, which is basically an AMD Instinct platform. You can see here the serial number gets exposed, the BMC IP address, and then also the rack slot unit position, the starting position. You can see here in the front here where you have the various hoses that are coming out of the front of it that are connected into the manifold of the rack itself, and providing liquid cooling for this rack. You can see here on the top that it's represented by a PDU. And then, so managed by a PDU, there are different regions within the rack, A, B, C, and D, where you can strategically locate your PDUs to be able to perform any type of lifecycle management or PDU management. And then also we have the CDU here, which is the icon to indicate a water droplet and information there. So by clicking here, you can look at more detailed information about this particular platform. So we want to look at detailed information. Here we can see here the manufacturer, the drawer, basically the drawer height. Oops, I ended up clicking on the wrong one there. Sorry. It's the front and rear view of the AMD. And you can see here it's a 4U appliance. Supermicro manufacturer showing you the drawer location, and then how many slots it's occupying. So 4U occupies 4 slots, and it starts at position drawer number or location number 16. So this, so what I'm doing is I'm going to sort of reduce the amount of video clips to look at a various feature within SuperCloud Composer. So that kind of cuts down on me babbling and going on and on and on about complete lifecycle management from day 0 through day 2. So we'll break this up in little vignettes that you can look at various different things of what task you want to perform to help you. If you want to just look at how you want to manage the pod view itself, we provided that information for you. And then we'll go down into the next cycle, which would be day one activity, showing you how we're going to register and also deploy OSs and so on and so forth, right? And collect sensor data that's important to the 4U appliance for the MI300. So what's key here is we don't treat a liquid-cooled appliance any different than air-cooled. It goes through the same particular registration process. Just because it's an AMD MI300, we don't do anything different, right? If it was an NVIDIA platform, if it was an Intel platform across semiconductors, we're building a universal management platform to support all semiconductor vendors out there, Intel, NVIDIA, and also AMD. This particular use case or video just focuses on how we bring out the feature sets within the MI300 and quickly get you deployed so you can start building your models and providing the necessary critical lifecycle management for your environment, your data center. So this concludes basically day zero operation of registration of PodView. We'll see you next time, and we'll start focusing on additional tasks that are part of your operational needs within a data center. We'll see you next time.